Hey guys, welcome back to All In with the Cooks. In this episode, we're going to be talking about the different revenue streams of the Tinstitute, and not only of just the Tinstitute, but kind of all the different revenue streams that Michaela and I have. So this is definitely going to be a little bit more Michaela's department because she does the finance for not only the Tinstitute, but for all of our companies. And there's so many different revenue streams, that off the top of my head, I could honestly not name them all. So I know obviously the core revenue streams, but there's so many different ones, like I said, that I know that if I tried to list them all off, I would definitely be forgetting some. Mm-hmm. So some of the obvious revenue streams, right, are obviously the things that most of you guys are familiar with, like the courses, the membership, video library, the hands-on training. But then we have, some of the bigger revenue streams that are behind the scenes as far as our sponsors go. Mm-hmm. And then, kind of fill me in on what equates for most of the revenue.
Yeah, so we also wanted to talk about this called life-changing sponsorships, which is like the sponsorship part that you mentioned. So we do have paid sponsorships. Some sponsors include material, product with that, but we do have several paid sponsors. We also have the hands-on coaching. You can train with us online via our courses. We have 2 subscription options. One's the video library, which is a lower price point. It's like $14.99 a month. And then we have our coaching academy that's $99 a month. And then on our website, you can also purchase physical products as well as digital products.
Yep. And then in addition to that, correct me if I'm wrong, but the number one form of revenue is our coaching program, mm-hmm. where I mentor people one-on-one. And then also, we have a lot of revenue coming in nowadays from the platforms themselves. So that's TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. We're monetized on all those platforms, and we get ad sponsorships or ad spend. Mm-hmm. And then depending upon how many views we get on TikTok, we'll get paid out from TikTok. And we're fortunate that our content is the highest monetized content, if you will, meaning because it's educational, we try to keep it clean cut. We are monetized at a higher rate than some other types of content out there.
Yeah, so the main platforms that we get paid directly on are Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. And then, as you mentioned, the one-on-one coaching, especially this year, that's a huge part of our revenue because before we kind of just took prospects as they come in, leads that contacted us, reached us out. Now we have more of a program, a blueprint, and we have different price packages for those. So that's a huge part of our revenue. Yeah. And then, smaller things like Amazon affiliates, you have your specific products that we link to, and we get a % commission when someone purchases that product or anything on Amazon when they use your link to check out.
Yep. And then we also have tools as well. We sell tools directly on our website, thetinstitute.com. And as many of you know, one of our most popular tools is the Cut Right. This is the tool that helps you cut without having to have someone hold the light for you. And then I want to touch on how we structured our sponsorship packages from the get-go, when we started creating sponsorship packages, Basically, right out of the get-go, before we even had 10,000 followers, we structured sponsorship packages, and we structured them as bronze, silver, gold, platinum. And then as we talked about in a previous episode, we also had an in-kind sponsorship. Well, we no longer offer the in-kind sponsorship, and that is where people would send product in exchange for reviews on that product or a certain amount of views. Mm-hmm. So nowadays, we're actually moving towards a little bit different model where we're charging per view or for views. So a lot of our deals are performance-based, and we'll do deals with companies based off of 250,000 views or 150,000 views. And they'll pay a flat fee, and we will do as many videos as it takes until we get to agreed upon views. Mm-hmm. So I still only work with companies that I genuinely like and genuinely believe in, mm-hmm. and we don't work with as many companies as some people might think because most people just don't have the budget.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and a huge part of the ability to have so many streams of revenue is because we've built up the personal brand, the Tinstitute brand. And so without an audience, we wouldn't be able to get monetized on a lot of the different avenues that we are right now, whether it be directly from the platform, because without an audience and getting a massive amount of engagement, you don't get views. You can't do Amazon affiliates without a big audience. You can't get sponsor deals. You can't sell products. You have to pay for advertising. We don't have to pay for advertising to sell these products. So you, with your coaching students, like, you really emphasize the importance of having a personal brand because you have all these different avenues that you can now monetize.
Right. And one thing I want to mention is, like, in any business, it's a balance, right? Like in our brick and mortar shop, we can't just be the cheapest because then we wouldn't be able to pay our team and it wouldn't pencil out as far as film costs and whatnot. Well, in this business, we can't just work with every single company, otherwise we'd be spamming our followers with just sale pitch after sale pitch and that type of thing. But then also we don't want to be working with so many brands to where we're available to anyone and the brand gets diluted. But at the same time, we don't want to charge too much. We can't charge too much because then we'd have no sponsors and no revenue. So it's always a balance of creating revenue. We have a team of 5 people just for the Tinstitute. A brand manager and 2 videographers, and then my wife and I. So we have to get everyone paid and we pay them well, but we cannot work with everyone. But then again, we don't want to be so exclusive that there's no companies that could afford working with us. So that is always a balance, and obviously as you work your way up through the tiers, bronze, silver, gold, and platinum, there's more deliverables on our part. The biggest life-changing sponsorship deal that we've ever had has been Fellers. And that's why I wear their hat every day, and that was part of the negotiation. And I'm happy to do it because I believe in the company, because it's where we started when we first bought our sign equipment in 2012, and it's where we still buy 90% of our materials when it comes to our wrap department. And they've been very good to us. The story is just really fascinating on how we made the deal with Philip from Fellers on the floor of the of the SEMA show. And so it was just really cool meeting him 10 minutes later, shaking hands, making a deal, an hour later having lunch in the food court and making a deal. He trusted us, we trusted him, and it's worked really well for the last 3 or 4 years. How long have we been with them?
3 years.
3 years, yeah. So really proud to be working with Fellers. Now, they're our title sponsor, and we have several sponsors that fall under our gold package underneath them.
So one of the cool things about Fellers and like the other sponsors that we work with is, you had mentioned that we really have to believe in their product. We really have to be utilizing them. And it was such a great fit with Fellers because when we started buying from Fellers, when we added the sign equipment, they added 50% of what our business is today. So like, we believed in what they had to offer. Their whole thing is speed, service, selection. You can actually get someone on the phone. They've got every single thing from vinyl wrap, PPF, tinting now, and there's no barrier to entry. There's no buy-in. There's no business license. It's super accessible to everyone, which a lot of people that follow us are seasoned professionals and business owners, but there's also a lot of people that are entering into the market and they were having such a hard time buying from some of these bigger brands like 3M, Lumar, who have a bigger vetting process. For Fellers, they liked working with us and they understood that our content for them wasn't going to be like, go buy from Fellers, they're so great. They understood the importance of having us do organic content around their brand, and that's how we've structured all of our deals now. Brands don't tell us, okay, stand there with this product, this hat, say this certain thing, because our audience, we're not going to get any engagement on that. So all of our relationships now, they know that we're going to be doing organic content that's going to get the most views and it's going to be the most beneficial for our audience and their new customers.
Yeah, and for a while we did, do commercials, and now we've moved towards the influencer model where we sell through influencing rather than doing traditional commercials. With that said, like you mentioned, Expel really popularized the exclusivity business model of only letting certain shops carry their film. And so Fellers really brought us on to let the public know that they were then getting into window film, particularly Avery. So that's what we've done over the last 3 years. And it's not for everyone, and no film is for everyone. It's just like no car is for everyone. You know, I often relate Avery window film to a Honda or a Mazda. Is it the absolute best film on the market? No, but it's owned by a massive company, and it's a great film that anyone can get their hands on with no buy-in. So you can buy just one roll of film, get started that way. And just like a Honda or a Mazda is a great car for anyone, really, but especially someone that's just getting their first car, that's what Avery does, and that's what they're proud to do, is be accessible to anyone. So not only do we have many different revenue streams within the Tinstitute, Michaela and I have different revenue streams in our personal life as well. And as a matter of fact, when you sign up for my one-on-one coaching program, you get this deck of cards. And this deck of cards is our 25 leadership hacks. So these are designed to where you pull a card out as a leader of a company and you work on that particular leadership hack. And so this card that I just happen to pull out is encourage side hustles. So we encourage all of our team members to have side hustles. We even do whatever we can to support them in having side hustles because we promote entrepreneurship, but also we believe that your team having different forms of revenue, they're going to show up better to work, not being as tight on cash. Now, with that said, another one of the leadership hacks is for owners to have multiple forms of revenue. And I believe that's important because especially on a small team and a small business, what happens is team members start calculating and it's just a natural human thing to do. A lot of times we'll do that, watching people on Instagram, trying to, like Michaela did a video the other day, counting people's money. It's just a natural human thing to do, right? So on a small team, when you only have one form of revenue, and that being your core brick and mortar business, your team starts to feel as if they're doing all the work for everything that you're achieving. And again, this is even more prominent in small companies when it's easier to count up, okay, we did 3 cars today. This is how much revenue we did today. Owner pulls up in a new truck. It doesn't leave a good taste in their mouth, them thinking that you're buying nice new things and upgrading your lifestyle while they do all the work. So it makes it a lot cleaner. You obviously have other benefits as far as being able to invest more and get ahead faster by having multiple forms of revenue. But Michaela and I went out of our way to create many different forms of revenue in our personal life. From our other shop, Mint Window Tinting, Rock Solid Horsemanship, which is my horse business. We also have a handful of rental properties. I know I'm missing some.
Well, and then we have our investments that obviously go up, but then some of them you get dividends on.
Right. So the moral of the story is it's impossible. I mean, even I don't know where all of our money's coming from, in the sense that we're making money in all the businesses that we're in. Which one's the biggest? I'm not looking at that every day, but all I know is that we have money coming in from a lot of different areas because we never sleep, so to speak. But seriously, like some of our forms of revenue help us make money while we sleep. Like she was talking about our stock portfolio, and most importantly, our digital products. There's people all over the world that are buying products from us in the middle of the night when it's daytime across seas. We're sleeping. So that helps us to get ahead quicker and also provide better for our team. Because, on months when our team gets slow here at Quality, we pride ourselves on always giving 40 hours. Do we ever send someone home because we're slow? Yes, but it's usually because we've asked, would anyone like to go home early? If somebody says they want hours, we're giving them hours, even if we don't have a project in their department. So for those of you that might be interested in creating a second revenue, I truly recommend picking something that you're already doing, especially if you're wanting to go all in on building a personal brand. Horses was my hobby, and I turned it into a business so that I didn't have to stop doing my hobby, but also so that I stopped spending money on my hobby. Now it's grown to be so much more than that. We have tons of different forms of revenue within Rock Solid Horsemanship, just like the Tinstitute. We board horses at our ranch. I give lessons. We sell horses. I train other people's horses. I do offsite lessons. I'll go and help people look at horses and shop for horses and charge an hourly rate for that, so on and so forth. So the point is that I truly think that everyone is an expert at something. And regardless of how small of a niche that thing is, you can make a business off that, because there's 4 billion active users on Instagram. So if your passion was tying your shoes in all the different creative ways that you can tie a shoe, you can make a page off that, or a brand off that. If you were passionate about basket weaving, you can literally make a brand off that. If you were passionate about doing flower arrangements, I mean, most definitely you can start a personal brand off that. You can literally start a personal brand off of anything that you're passionate about doing. And generally, what you're passionate about doing is what you're an expert at. So what are you currently an expert at that you love doing, that you can create a brand around and create revenue? That's what I would ask yourself if you're interested. I wouldn't recommend pivoting and starting a whole nother business just for the sake of money. It has to be something you're passionate about, so that you can post about it over a long period of time with no revenue, with no instant gratification, but you're already doing it, you already like it, and then later be able to make money from it. So with the strategy I'm talking about, like when I started posting horsemanship content, I knew I wasn't going to make money right away. But now it's grown into something where, again, it feels like I print money, just like at the Tinstitute.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people get discouraged because they don't really know what to do. They don't really know where to start. They kind of have this idea in their head that it has to be this all or nothing thing. But with a lot of our side businesses or additional forms of revenue, when you set it up, and I had trouble with this too. It's if we do something, I want it to be perfect. I want to be 100% all in on it. But with I've learned to loosen up, and it's the main thing is to just get started and do a little bit every day or every week, and then it will compound. So for window tinting, it's we didn't even open up a separate bank account for that. We don't have separate insurance for that. Obviously, we have umbrella companies that can cover anything if anything were to happen. But my point is that you can start small in risk and in revenue and build up, especially if this is something that you're going to transition into doing full time. It doesn't need to be all or nothing type thing. And we did that with Rock Solid. It's you started with one horse and just a round pin.
It started casual. It started casual.
Yeah.
I just did a friend's horse, trained a friend's horse for 30 days, and then charged him. There was no business card or website or anything like that. And then it's okay, maybe we should build a website. And should we get business cards? And, it grows. And I said that, years ago with quality. I was the legitimacy of the business should grow with the business. You don't need to have a C Corp business structure when you're all by yourself. You just don't need that. It's overkill. At least that's my philosophy.
Yeah, I mean, some people I talk to that want to open, say, a shop, it's they're so worried about things that are all the way out here, you're talking about a business entity, and they don't even know how to tint yet. It's okay, let's start at square one, start slow, start doing your family, team members' cars, and then work up from there. And like you said with Rock Solid, you started doing some friends' horses. Then it's we built the website. Then, okay, we have a little bit more revenue. We're doing some training. Let's put up a Google listing. We started getting reviews. We were getting referrals from there. Then people were interested in boarding. Okay, now we need stalls. And so we just use the cash flow to keep continuously growing the business and adding things. So I know you mentioned that having multiple streams of revenue is important as business owners for our team to see, but what do you think having these additional revenue streams, what are the other benefits? Obviously we get more cash, but some people could argue, well, if you just focused your attention fully on one thing, then you could be more successful at that one thing. So what would your argument be to that?
So my argument to that would be I get to have a hobby and I get to take a break from work to go do my hobby, which is horses, but now it's not a hobby because I make money from it. So is burnout a real thing? Yeah, for sure, obviously. Now, how quickly you burn out is going to be different from other people. Like for the first 10 years, we worked 7 days a week. I would work 8, 9, 10 hours. I don't want to do that anymore, but I do always want to be working, just not at the same shop. Some people can focus on one thing more than other people. I can't. And then also, like from a strategic point of view, things are only going to grow so fast. Like our company, I mean, yeah, if I went and did sales all day, every day, would it grow faster? Maybe. But like, we're in a small area, so that's why we added so many different services to our company. I mean, we're a full service sign shop, wrap, PPF, apparel, powder coat, etc., web design. So we offer a lot of different services to get to the couple $1 million mark in revenue. Putting more effort in to get to the $3 or $4 million mark, I chose to start something that I'm passionate about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and utilize our property. That's another thing we want it to do. We want it to utilize our ranch and create a situation in which it pays for itself. So the horses we board now pay our mortgage.
Yeah. And I think the other cool thing is that even though some of our businesses, like obviously Rock Solid's in a completely different industry than Quality, just being able to learn how all these different business models work. And, you know, we've been in the retail space, we're in the online space, we're in the influencer space, just learning more about different business structures and seeing that there are a lot of similarities in all business structures, but then there's nuances too. And I just think every time we start something new or we grow something new, I always learn different systems, different things, just grow as a person. And another thing is that if you just have one business and that business is having a bad quarter, it's so stressful. But it's almost like you're dating someone that you're not really sure about, and then you have a side chick. It's like, okay, I'm not so stressed out about this relationship not working out because I have this other side thing going on. And I think that's true with a side business. Like if you have a full-time job that you don't really like, but you have to go day after day for a check, but you're kind of building this side business that you're really interested in, it's a possibility of taking it full-time. That takes a lot of like stress and pressure because you have this other option you're working on.
Yep. And the horse business, I mean, in my particular situation, is totally different. It's a totally different demographic. I'm typically dealing with 40, 50, 60-year-old ladies that are already successful. And so anyways, I mean, that's a lot of our clientele here too, I guess. But it's the difference is that the horses are their hobby and their passion, and it's things that they really want to spend money on. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we have that here too, where people's cars, their passions, and they're wanting to spend money on their cars. But even still, it's just different because, you know, I'm more positioned as an influencer in the horse industry as I am in the Tinstitute versus here at the brick and mortar local company, not so much. So the level of respect, the interaction with the customers is just different.
Yeah, and then with all our businesses, we take on the same roles. Like I handle the customer service, the billing, kind of the operations, how everything's going to run, and you're like, you know, at Quality you're not anymore, but you were at doing the installations for the horse business.
I'm not. I was just tinning all day. Like, what the heck?
We have to sub you in sometimes. You know, for Rock Solid, you're actually doing the training, so it's kind of easy in that way because we both know no matter what business we start, we're going to take on those roles that we have. So on the next episode, I want to talk more about how we built up the personal brand, because the way that we started the Tinstitute has completely transformed to the types of posts that we do now and what we focus on, and also what you advise other business owners to do. So I want to go in depth on that on the next episode.
Great. And then the episode after that, just thinking ahead, I want to talk about how we work together, how we've determined what our roles and responsibilities would be, and how we've overcome a lot of the challenges of working together and spending so much time together. Because I know there's a lot of you out there that would like to work with your wives or your significant other and, have a lot of questions around how we're able to make it work and the trials and tribulations that we've been through. So that's it for this episode. We'll see you on the next one.
Bye.